Good afternoon, everybody. The last time that I've had weed was on the 13th of January, and today is the 7th of February. That means I haven't had any weed for 25 days straight, and thus by far the longest continuous tolerance break that I've had since I first tried weed roughly 17 months ago. And so, why was I doing so? Mainly because for most of this time I was traveling with my family. My parents are really not okay about me using weed, and I've also had no access to weed anyways in where I was traveling to. And at the same time, I was also taking a break of online games during this time. Yeah, I did have access to the internet, but the internet connection quality of the place where I was staying in was not good enough to practically play those video games. Despite that, I can still log on to them. So what observations did I had? I started to notice that everything that I was seeing and hearing, they started becoming a bit faster and faster. I mean, just slowly and gradually going that way in the first few days. The main reason for that is because for anyone who's tried weed before, you notice that you don't went from high to sober and all of a second. You went from high to a little less high to a little less high to a point that you thought you were sober, but you're still a little bit high, and then to finally fully sober through a long period of time, because the effects fade away really slowly and gradually. And this is particularly noticeable when I was watching YouTube videos. I started to notice that the videos were becoming slightly faster than what I was typically used to. And another thing that I was expecting to experience is the decrease in appetite. I thought I was gonna need less food during this time, but the answer is no, this didn't happen to me. Because besides that weed, which can increase your appetite, it can give you the munchies, there are also a lot of other things that can either increase or decrease your appetite. Like the weather, your mood, the amount of activities you do. Those are all the things that can either make you feel more hungry more easily or less hungry. So what else? So did I miss weed during this time? Of course I did. But to what extent is the real issue in here? I'd say it's just a normal level of missing, just like how you would miss winter in summer or how you miss summer in winter. How do you say that? It's not really affecting my relationships with people or really affecting my overall feelings and mood that much. It's kind of usual, just I don't seem to be bothered by it too much. And I've heard about a YouTuber who's saying that if you're taking a tolerance break or having a long period of time that you're not smoking weed, if you do so on a regular basis, you have to think of yourself as a non-smoker to make it feel easier. I've tried this during this time before, but I find it really difficult because I've always known that I'm just having a break, I'm not trying to quit, and I've been overly prepared for today. I'm overly prepared for the day that this period is gonna end. That's why I'm actually overly prepared for making this video. And if you're someone who is trying to quit weed after like years and years of doing so, then that would have been much easier. So, in my opinion, is weed addictive? I'd say it can be, if you've got no self-control or whatever. So as anything like porn, like video games, like sugary, fizzy drinks, soft drinks, snacks, fast food, they can all be addictive in certain ways, but I'd say it's not chemically addictive because I haven't had any withdrawal symptoms due to this. If something that needs to be chemically addictive, it needs to give you withdrawal symptoms after you haven't had it for a while. What else? Another question that a lot of people may wonder is that is weed harmful? In my opinion, it can be harmful in certain areas. For example, it can cause us the loss of short-term memory in heavy uses. It can also give you certain mental health issues. But does that mean it's not okay? The answer is no. So as like fast food, which can give you obesity and that's harmful in that way. So as sugar, which can cause diabetes, alcohol that can cause traffic accidents, and tobacco, which can cause lung cancer in certain ways. A lot of other things that are actually widely accepted and legal are actually harmful in certain areas. So it all depends on how responsible are you as a user of those things. So, oh yeah, I'm back. I've just been away for a while and now I'm back in the video. Yeah, so practically speaking, my tolerance level is not high enough to for a tolerance break to be necessary, considering that I've only been having weed for 17 months. That's only slightly less than 1.5 years, and I'm usually not a heavy weed user. I'm usually quite a light user for most of the time. So I've actually known people, friends, and also people who are famous, who do weed in all different kinds of levels and different kinds of amounts, how often they do so. I've known people who only smoke weed for like once every 1 to 2 months on average, and they do it totally fine. I've also known people who smoke weed literally every single day, and they keep on smoking more because they've got no self-control. And I've also known people who smokes weed on almost every day, but who takes the whole month of October, that's 31 days, free of any weed, alcohol, tobacco, and any other psychedelics or any drugs in that matters, and they stay completely sober in that month, and they do it totally fine. So yeah, that in terms of the use of weed, how often you do so, there are all kinds of people who just do it kind of differently. But having a break like this is not only a matter of tolerance, only about a matter of tolerance where you are trying to lower your tolerance if it's too high, because you don't want your tolerance of weed to be too high, or else that means it would take a lot of weed for you to feel anything. You also don't want it to be too low, or else that you get too high too easily, and you are more likely to have what's called white E in the UK and what's called greening out in the US. And that means if you're having too much weed at once and then you started feeling sick, but that's not an overdose, technically not a lethal overdose in any ways. And that's something that you definitely don't want. Having a tolerance break can also make you more adaptable to different scenarios in life, and for you to become more flexible as a person overall. Darwin once told us that it is those that can adapt the best that will survive, and I totally agree with him in this matters. So what should I say next? That's pretty much all I have to say at the moment, and let's have an ice break. Yeah, it may take a bit of minute. Yeah, it feels kind of funny just looking at this joint, and because I haven't done so for a while, and during this time I've experienced a lot of other things. So I'm doing this actually because I still want to be a functional, productive stoner in the long run. I cannot be someone who becomes fucked up or useless whenever they're stoned. I'm actually trying to adjust myself and get back used to the feeling of weed once again. Now it's actually tasting really bitter because I haven't had it for a while, and I'm not that used to the taste once again. And I have to get back used to the taste of weed as well as the feelings of being high or stoned once again, and to make myself functional and productive under its influence. So you wonder, am I gonna have longer tolerance breaks in the future? What my plans are? I haven't decided yet, but in this October I may be joining Joe Rogan on his Sober October and spend my entire 31 days straight free from alcohol, weed, and any other psychedelics, as a process of having like detox and also gain an interesting experience. So that's pretty much all I have to say in this video. Thank you for watching and cheers.